China.
Yay. Okay, so welcome to
Love
the
it.
Visionary Blueprint Business Breakthrough Bootcamp. This is a completely free bootcamp that we've set up to just help you get a clearer sense of who you are and really to help you get more sales because at the end of the day, it's wonderful to have a business and it's great to have offers that you love or a business that you love. And it totally sucks to have that not reaching the people who really need it or want to pay you for it. So this week, this is a 3-day boot camp. So if you just saw like a quick, hey, join us today, this is actually a 3-day boot camp if you want it. So today we're talking exclusively about branding. Tomorrow, Chelsea is going to be guiding us through the marketing aspect. And then we're going to jump in on Thursday with a multiple 8-figure CEO who's going to lead us through the sales portion. So you're going to want to be there. So I would suggest being there all days, or we will be sending out if you are on our email list. If you're not, let us know and we can get you on our email list. But we will be sending out all the replays and all of the information so that you can come hang with us every day and the replays for sure.
Yeah.
So just a little introduction to me. I'm Nicole Eaton. I'm a 2-time author, speaker, serial entrepreneur. I've sold a couple of businesses. I flipped a lot of real estate, and I'm currently in the season of subdividing and selling. I have been in the entrepreneurial world for 15 years, but I'm a first generation entrepreneur, which means that for the first probably 7 years of running a business, I had a wellness center in New York State. And for the first 7 years, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And I was making like 30,000 a year. I was surviving, but it really wasn't until I started to understand like branding and marketing and really reaching my ideal customer, especially like online or in the digital space, that I moved that to over 6 figures. So I just wanted to make sure Chelsea and Casey introduce themselves because they have an incredible background and stories when it comes to being an entrepreneur. And we are all collectively Visionary Blueprint. So if Chelsea, if you want to dive in.
Hey, Chelsea Escaffi. I have also been an entrepreneur for a while. I've owned a couple of businesses, but most recently, my husband and I opened a mortgage brokerage here in Charlotte. We've been in business for just over a year now. But before that, he actually co-owned another company, and I worked with him for about 4 years in real estate. We also have been flipping real estate for the last couple of years, pretty heavily involved in that. I've had a couple little side businesses, 10 years in sales and marketing. I'm super excited to dive into the marketing piece with you guys tomorrow. That is like my passion, just design in general. We're not so much going to be talking about design tomorrow. I think there's plenty of programs and things online that are available to help you kind of niche down with that. And then obviously Nicole has her branding expertise that she's going to guide you guys through today. But tomorrow we're really going to be diving into like a 2025 strategy. How am I going to set myself up to reach the most amount of people, social media strategies, things like that. I'm very, very excited about it. We've been planning this for God, I don't know, like since Christmas almost. And it's just been a work in progress. But today's the day. We were all texting each other this morning, like, happy boot camp day. So we're all very, very excited that you guys are here.
What about
Yes.
you, Casey?
And I am Casey Johnson. I am the founder of Ladies Lifestyle Network, which is a community here. We're in 16 cities across the country and counting, expanding again soon. And started my entrepreneurial journey, I would say, in my early 20s. And same, right? I'm a first generation entrepreneur. It was my ex-husband who really kind of opened my eyes to a new world. And once it's like you see kind of behind the veil, it's like you can't go back, you know? And so ever since then, I've just been heavily into sales. With his company, I was a very high ticket salesperson, which gave me a ton of experience on what to do and what not to do, right? There are good ways and there are not so good ways with that. And then I was a realtor out in Austin, Texas. And then I was also doing women's events on the side and realized like, I don't really like being a realtor because you are like on 24/7 and you're really like a therapist for these people, right? And it's just a lot, but I love community building and I love hearing people's stories and featuring people and really like putting others in the spotlight and giving them a chance to do so. And so that's why Ladies Lifestyle Network was started here in Charlotte in 2019. And I'm just really proud of what it's become and where it's going. And I just love working with and being with people, especially entrepreneurs, because it's like we all kind of go through the same steps, right? We all have the same questions. We all run into a lot of the same barriers. And it's just so much easier when you have people who have done it before there to guide you and help you. And so that's too what this boot camp is about, right? Like, let us share what we know with you guys, right? And we are, I think we're not hoping, we know it's going to be just so beneficial for you guys. So we're really, really excited.
Yes. And it's really cool because we all have different expertise when it comes to this. But one of the things that I love about branding is that it helps you become more visible. It helps people really know who you are, and it helps you be known for something. And so like when I think of like, why do you even need branding? Like what's the point? Why can't I just scale by? I compared like not having branding and marketing is like jumping off a cliff and then building your parachute on the way down. It's you could do it. Like you could technically do it, but let's like set a foundation. Like your branding, your marketing, and your sales and your offers that you're creating are your foundation of your house. And if you have a rocky foundation, anything can crumble it. So our goal is to help you create a brand that allows you to be more visible, that allows you to stand out, and that allows you to create a reputation to be known for something. So I have a question and I want everybody to respond in the chat preferably, okay? And please feel free to ask questions along the way. I want it to be a group effort, but the question is this: is Hilton a brand or a business? So just jot that in the chat. I want to see what you guys have to say.
Are we allowed to answer too?
Yeah, do it. You can respond verbally if you want.
Yeah.
Brand. Okay.
And feel free to turn on your cameras, guys, like if you want to. We
Welcome.
want it to be as interactive as possible. So like if you want to turn your camera on and raise your hand or anything like that, we are here for it.
Okay. So next question
Hi, Priscilla.
is Nike a brand or a business? So respond to that in the chat. Brand. Okay. Okay. So let me ask you this now. If Hilton creates a shoe, what does it look like?
Is Paris Hilton modeling it?
Okay. If Nike creates a hotel, what does it look like? So one of my favorite content creators, Christopher Doe, he's called The Future. He argues that Hilton is actually just a business and not a brand. And so I would ask you that if you were to create something outside of your niche right now, would people be able to tell it's you? That is the essence of a brand, right? Is that we know if Nike does anything else, we know the essence they're going to bring to the table. We know what the vibe is. We know what the energy behind it is. And we know that if Hilton does it, like, what's it going to look like? A kid? Like, what, like at the end of the day, like Hilton has high-end variations, they have low-end variations. So it's really hard to tell. And sure, Hilton is a business and they've done branding with their logo, but they don't necessarily have an essence of their business. So I don't know if I personally agree with Chris Doe or not, but I think it's a really important topic to discuss when we're talking about branding, because what your brand really is what you're known for. And so I want you to like take a second and just think about that of like, what is your business known for? Is there anything specific that your business is known for? And you can drop it in the chat as well. One of the things that was one of the most powerful questions anybody's ever asked me when it came to branding was, I'm a big energy girl, right? That is a huge part of my work. I like talk energy, I talk vibes, I talk all of like how something makes you feel. And so when I was working with my first business coach, I said, I don't think I fit into the like traditional business world. Like it all feels really inauthentic to me. It all feels really fake to me. It all feels like a bunch of people trying to be something they're not. And he goes, no, 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 no. Here's how we're going to do it. I want you to think of what the soul essence of your business is. Like, what is like, if you have a good friend and you know that when they like give you advice, it's going to sound like this, or if they give you information, it's going to come from this kind of place. So I want you to think of like what the soul essence of your business is. How does it feel when people talk to you? Do they feel lifted up? Do they feel inspired? Do they feel hopeful? Do they feel like you've got it? What do you want to be known for? And how do people know it's your work? Do you have something that is like specific to you, a signature to you? Something that has become really specific to me is my brand colors. My brand colors are, and you can pick colors, you can do, I know Chelsea's going to talk a little bit about this, but my brand colors are teal and pink. And anytime I go speak, I wear these colors. Anytime. Actually, there's a picture of Chelsea, Casey, me, and Kara Truitt, and I'm wearing bright pink and everybody else is wearing black because that makes me recognizable in a group of people. And if I'm going to a 3-day conference, I will wear that same color, not the same outfit. Don't worry, I wash my clothes, but I will wear the same color every single day because in a group of people, everyone will know how to point me out by like recognizing me. So whether that is a item that you wear, whether that is a signature that you put on the bottom of your emails, whether that is just the way you talk about things and the passion of which you talk about it. I'm pretty known for being intense. I always say I give aggressive pep talks. I'm very no bullshit when it comes to counseling, when it comes to therapy. I'm very like I have a online space. I'm very unfiltered. I swear a lot, that kind of thing. So what do you want to be known for, and what is the soul essence of your business? So drop that into the group chat if you know that. Custom travel planning. So is custom travel planning, is that luxury travel? Is that budget travel? What does that exactly mean for you? My office walls and logo are green. I usually wear green for events. Yes. Oh, I like that. That's beautiful. Helping women through breakups, through ritual and emotional release. Okay. Okay. Is the essence of the Heartbreak Undertakers, like, what is the soul of that? Do I want to be angry? Do I want to feel like full release? Do I want it to be more of a spiritual experience? What is the essence of that? I would love for you to go just a little deeper with that so that you know that everything you're posting is kind of in line with that and everything you're sharing is kind of in line with that. But I love that. Custom itinerary specific to my clients. Okay. Elizabeth, I would like challenge you to get a little more clear with that. So this next part is really about simplifying and describing what you do. I always think of our friend Trish. She says the riches are in the niches. And the more, I think when I first started, I felt like the more, like, I'm so broad, I don't want to niche down like that. Like, so for me, it was really, really hard because I want to serve everybody. And so I think that like the thing that I've discovered is that when you get really, really kind of clear about what you like, it doesn't mean you can't help everybody. It just means you can market it well. So I would say for you, the people who are going to pay for a custom itinerary to travel are people who have a little extra money. So I might suggest that with your branding that you do something that is a little bit luxury based, or at least that's something you promote regularly if that feels aligned, right? That's the soul of your business. But I think with custom itineraries, like I think of the people I know who would pay for them and the people I know who wouldn't even approach you because they would assume it would be too much money. So just something to think about when you're thinking about your branding. And Brie needs help with simplifying. Yeah, like here's the thing is I think that something that happens is that we get into our business and our specialties and we get really good at it. and we have a lot to offer. And then we start using jargon that is familiar within our business that doesn't resonate with everybody. And so I always think of like a top funnel, like who am I actually targeting? We'll talk a ton about marketing tomorrow. So this is really, today is about you. Today is about really getting clear about what do I like to do? How do I want to like really make my money? And how do I want to present myself and the soul and the energy? I like that Karen said the dark feminine release and rebirth. I think that that gives me colors. Like when I like read that, I see the color of it, I see the energy of it. But this is really just about your own clarity within yourself. Like, how do you want to simplify and clarify and get really succinct in what you're doing? Because really, you need a one-liner. It needs to be short and sweet. We'll talk a ton about that in the course we're creating, but um, when you get clear on your mission, your values, and the things you care most about, that's where your niche is and that's where your money is. Fertility massage, prenatal and pediatric body work. There's a lot of life in how I practice. Oh, I like that. It's the heart chakra for sure. Timeless photography for the modern couple. Ooh. Priscilla, I'd love for you to go a little deeper into that. What does that mean? Timeless photography. How do I know something's timeless? Simplicity in your messaging is going to help your market find you. So we're going to talk about really appealing to your target audience tomorrow, but the really important, I don't have a statement. Okay. And that's okay. This is what today is for, is to help you get clear. So what I would say is this is a really good time to do a brain dump, to give yourself an opportunity to sit down and just go through like, what do I love? What excites me? What kind of work do I just like really enjoy doing? What is something that, like, again, what is something I want to be known for? What is the energy I do that with? These questions are to help you clarify. And one of the things I friggin' love about Visionary Blueprint is our goal is to give you an opportunity to work on your business, not just in your business. So that's like, I think that's something, especially for, I can speak for women, right? Is that we don't have a ton of opportunities to work on our business because we're busy running the show. And that doesn't mean that's not true for men too, but like that's our specialty. But I think that this is a good time for you to get clear on what it is you have to offer in simplifying that message. So something that would look good 20 years ago, something that does not go with trends or filters imagery today, but still something that is current with the year of the photo shoot. Yeah, I love that. I would love for you to play with the wording on that, because I'm looking at that like, I hear you. I kind of get it, but I would love to find wording that would make just a little bit more sense. Casey, you're nodding. Is that something you agree with?
Yes, and I wanted to ask you too, like, do you think it's worth kind of during this brain dump, like put who it is that you want to serve? We all don't want to serve the same people, right? So like if you had your perfect customer, because we've all had them, right? We've all had perfect clients who were like, "Oh my gosh, can I work with you like forever?" And then we've had the ones that were like, like we've all been there. We're like, I don't know if I want to work with them again. So like, would you say it's kind of how do you like attract the ones that you really want? Is it like you just said, kind of getting more clear? Do you need to get clear with your ideal person in order to kind of get clear with your messaging to attract that person? Because it almost is like the broader you are, well, then everybody's just gonna come, right? And you don't necessarily want everybody, especially if you're like a luxury travel agent, right? Like you said, there's just some people that are not gonna sign up for that, right? And then there's some people who are gonna be like, yes, here's all my money, please plan my whole trip, right?
Yeah.
So what's like your advice for that? How do we find, number one, how do we kind of hone in on who they are? And then how do we attract them more?
So two things. I think Chelsea's going to talk a lot about like the audience piece tomorrow in marketing. So I don't want to dive too deep into that, but yes, that matters. However, I think authenticity is what draws people in. And so if today we're just focusing on what do I want to do? What do I want to be known for? Then we can take from there and attract our ideal client within what we want to do. I think sometimes people watch other people who are doing similar things that they're doing, and then they want to kind of like copy that or follow that same trend. And I think we end up in a couple places, right? I think when we're authentic, we draw in. Authenticity is the most powerful magnetizer for everything you want. The more clear you are, and this is not just a business lesson, y'all. This is like a personal lesson. Like that, the more authentic you're willing to be, the more honest you're willing to be with yourself, the more clear you're willing to be about who you are. Builds your confidence so that when people ask you, what do you do? That you have no problem saying that. It will help you build your offers, and it will help you get to know your audience better of who do I actually love to work with. So I do think Chelsea's going to dive into that piece tomorrow, but I think knowing what you want to do first so that you're not trying to fit yourself into every single hole that appears in front of you is really, really important. What are your thoughts on that?
I have actually a little challenge for everybody. I think if you are very clear on, like, if you leave this meeting and you're very clear on your branding and you're just ready to dive into marketing tomorrow, great. If you're still kind of like, I have all these things that fit me and my business, but I'm not sure how to really like compartmentalize that into my messaging. I support everybody using their own brain power, but I'm gonna preach chat GPT until the end of time. I would say tonight, this is like the perfect bridge between the branding and marketing piece. Dump all your thoughts into chat GPT and just say, hey, I'm an entrepreneur, this is my business, these are all the things I care about, these are all the things I want to deliver, these are the people I want to serve, this is the age range, this is my idea of a perfect client. ChatGPT, take all this information and give me a one sentence, less than 5 word statement of my branding message and see what it comes back with. You might have to do it a couple of times. You might have to get really, really specific with it, but take all the information that, we're kind of thinking and brainstorming about today, dump it in there if you want. Again, this is just my challenge for everybody, and then bring that messaging to the marketing class tomorrow. I think it's going to be a really good tie-in to kind of dive further into like, okay, we know what our branding is. How do we actually put it to work?
And
Yeah.
that's fun. I feel like that's
It
fun to see what it's going to come back with. It may be
is.
something you were thinking and you were like, oh my gosh, you're like, I'm totally on the right track, you know?
Yeah. I love, Priscilla, I love how clear you are about your target client. It sounds like you have a really, really clear picture of what that looks like. And this will help you with your brand and in helping to translate that, especially tomorrow with the marketing. I think that in Bree, I see yours as well. I want to be known as the activator for female entrepreneurs who desire to be sovereign in their power and their business, regardless of what gets thrown their way. I would just ask, like, what does activator mean to you? And so some people might not know what sovereign is. So if you want to attract the person who does know what that is, then that would be a great fit. So that's part of it, right? As we just talked about simplifying your message. Do I want to attract only people who would know that word? Or do I want to attract people who might not know that word? So when we're getting clear on ourselves, like, it's really important to clarify your wording. Make sure it's wording that everybody can easily repeat. Your family, your friends are your biggest sellers 100% of the time. So if they don't know what you do in 5, 6 words or less, like, you're probably not going to have them talking about you. I was chatting earlier about how I built my business without having any sense of branding and marketing. The only reason I built my business is word of mouth. Like, I didn't know how to build a website at the time. I didn't know how to use any of that. And it's because that succinct way of clarifying, here's what you get. Like, my business was called Clarity. So people were like, oh, you can go to Nicole to get clarity. Like, that's going to help you feel clear in your life. And so when you have either like, I love Heartbreak Undertakers. I think that's an incredible name. And I think people kind of have a really good sense of what that is. And I love the idea of like the feminine and dark energy with that too. So like, I think that as you're building the brand, it's a lot of different things, but simplifying the message and making sure that if you tell 10 people, making sure they understand clearly and can repeat it back to you. So that's a really good thing to do, is to be like, hey, I'm working on branding. this is my, one-liner statement, which we'll dive into the course, but this is my one-liner statement. Does this make sense to you? Is there anything that needs clarifying? If you were an alien and you dropped in from outer space and you had to read this, would you know what I do? So that's just the important thing. And like I said with Bree, if those words resonate with your particular audience that you are trying to attract, then that's perfect. And if you're like, man, but I want to reach people who maybe aren't quite as spiritual yet, then we can play with the wording. So it's really about knowing your audience, which we'll build on tomorrow, but it's also about really simplifying your personal statement so that every single person has the ability to know exactly what you do from the jump. And then the important part is to make sure that there's consistency there. So like I said, something that I'm really intentional about is the colors I wear. Something that I'm really intentional about is my branding on my social media, the way I go on a podcast, the way I speak about things. Sometimes I'll use the same phrasing. And if you go through and you listen to I always think of Jamie Kern Lima. She had an interview on Ed Milet. She is the original founder of It Cosmetics, and she was on Ed Milet. And the way she tells her story is so consistent across every podcast she's on. So when I read her book, I was like, this is great. And I've already listened to most of this because it's almost not verbatim of what she did on the podcast, but there was so much consistency between her message and the stories that she tells when she's sharing her brand across all platforms. So what's your story is the next piece, right? What is your story? What is the soul essence? And how do we get this story to translate so people know how much you care? I think there was I think Phil had a pet retreat, right? So why do you care about animals? Like, what's your story, right? What is your story behind why you want to do timeless photography? What is your story about what that creates for you, but also for other people? So when you have that consistency within your story, because you know who you are, because you know your values and your mission and the soul essence of what you're doing, then you can be more consistent across things. And I love a good vision board. You can go on Canva, and Canva is amazing. If you have Canva Pro, you can just upload all your brand fonts, all your brand colors, and then make everything the same. It's so easy if you have Canva Pro. So that would be a recommendation too. If you get that, it's something to create simple, easy content. You can put email signatures, all of that, and you can create your brand on there. And it's worth taking the time. I think that's something as busy entrepreneurs that it's hard to set aside the time to do that. But we're asking you to, because we're building the foundation of your house right now. And we want to make sure that you are being consistent with your messaging, being consistent with how you're showing up. And, the other thing I'm going to put out there, because I saw we're talking about authenticity, but we're still talking about professionalism. I saw a post the other day about me at 10 p.m. and then me at 10 a.m. And it was somebody who does injectables. And it was her at 10 p.m. partying and then her at 10 a.m. injecting somebody. And I've never gone to this person for injectables, but I immediately was like, I don't want anybody hung over injecting needles into my face ever. And so I think there's a level of authenticity that we have to be mindful of, even as oh, we're going to be authentic. And I know swearing's not for everybody. And I know, all of these things, but there is that fine line too of just being mindful of the content you're putting out, because I'm saying be authentic, but I'm also saying be professionally authentic. Does that make sense?
Yeah, she probably lost some customers with that one.
Could you imagine that was just such a I was just like, wow, that was a bold post, and I see where they were going with it, and I
Yeah.
respect that, but I immediately was like, remind me to not ever do that, to have somebody
Yeah.
injecting shit in my face that so be mindful that if you have a fun party lifestyle in private, that you keep those things a little separate. So just something to be mindful of. What questions do you guys have before I move on? Is this making sense? Are you feeling clear? Okay. Does anybody have any questions? Casey, Chelsea, do you have anything to add?
I think, I mean, just kind of backing up your point, not every social media trend is for you. And I think that's probably where that came from because I've seen like the corporate, like, oh, this is me at 10 a.m. or 10 p.m. on, Thursday, and then I'm at my office. That was me 5 years ago, by the way, but I was doing spreadsheets, not injectables. But I think like it's easy when you're trying to keep up with all the social media trends, especially on TikTok and Instagram specifically. There's a lot of things that you want to jump on the bandwagon and be like, oh, that video was super funny and that was really cute. Like I'm gonna, relate that to my business. And like Nicole said, I would just do some self-reflecting maybe before like, is this does this represent how I wanna present myself to the public? I'm sure that girl's a lot of fun.
I'm sure she's a great time. Don't put a needle near my face, but I'm sure she's a great time. Okay, if nobody has questions. Casey, do you have anything you wanted to add or any questions?
I don't think so. I'm soaking it all in, and I really like the messaging, right? It's because some people normally would be like, take all these social media trends and try to recreate them all into yourself. And it's like, just don't put unnecessary pressure on yourself. It's hard enough to be a business owner. And then, if you're in a relationship or have kids or whatever the case may be, it's like, it, we've got enough on our plates. So really focus on the actions and the steps that are going to move you forward to where you want to be and kind of let all the noise and I'm guilty of this. I think that's why I'm saying it because I'm like, I'm not posting on social media enough, right? Or I'm not doing enough reels or whatever the case may be. And you get so in your head about it. And it's like, it's okay as long as, like Nicole said, you are showing up authentic when you do show up. I think that's where it really matters. That's where it really counts. Not like if you're jumping onto every bandwagon and, giving a little too much away or maybe being a little inauthentic because you're like, I actually don't freaking have content for this or I don't super relate to this, but I feel like I have to do it, right? It's like kind of take the pressure off a little bit.
Yeah. I kind of want to add to that too. I think it's really tough when you see like we're in the content creation age and that I mean it's a beautiful gift that we have that years ago you had to pay for radio ads or newspaper and that was the only way you could get your message out and we have these I would say three potentially four huge platforms where you can reach an unlimited amount of people and it's free for the most part. I mean, there might be things you pay for to create those things, but for the most part, like you can access it for free and it's a really wonderful thing. TikTok's running ads on TV now about all these people's businesses who have blown up because of TikTok and it's really cool. But anyway, all that to say, I think there's a healthy balance between yes, in a lot of instances, depending on who your target audience is, social media creation and content is probably necessary. But it's important to realize too, when you're seeing these videos from these businesses where they're pumping out content every single day and everybody looks perfect, a lot of these people, I promise you, they have professional media teams. I work with a lot of realtors and I have spent the last year trying to create a lot of the things that they do. And one of them finally told me last week, like, no, I hired a videography agency and I pay thousands of dollars to do one of these videos. So, and a lot of businesses have their own media teams. Like, it's a lot of times it's not just an iPhone recording these, like, these are professionally shot videos. So again, take the pressure off. It is necessary, I think, in a lot of instances to make sure you're in front of people every day and creating the content, but it doesn't have to be perfect. Like, until you get to that point where you can afford in your business to pay for these media teams, you might not even ever need it, but it just don't like get burned out, I guess, when you see these videos and you're like, oh my God, like I can't do that. So I'm not going to do it at all. That's,
Mm.
I think, the important thing.
Yeah, I can attest that. My husband runs a massive company and he has 4 people running all of his social media. So of course they're pumping out this gorgeous content 75 times a day and can because they have 4 people who are paid full-time work to do that. But one of the things that has helped me, if we're just talking about content for a second, is done is better than perfect. I throw a trending audio, call it a day. I film it once, I post it. I don't think much about it. And I think that, again, that for me is authentic. That for me works. And I only do it when I feel like it. Recycle content, guys. Recycle content. Everything I have posted for the last 4 weeks, 3 weeks has been old videos that I just haven't had time, or we've had, just company here or whatever. But please feel free to recycle content. Like, don't reinvent the wheel. If you have something that's working, do it 8 times, post it 8 times. If you have something that people are really gravitating towards, like, make it into an email. Like, type it out, have Chat GPT write up a transcript and make it into an email. Like, do yourself a favor and keep your brand consistent, but also keep your burnout level low. Done is better than perfect. You can recycle things and you can do the same thing 50 times over. Nobody really cares as long as it's authentic. So I love that conversation because I think it's really important. And the last thing I'll say is one of the things that Casey and I do business audits. So we look at your landing pages, your website, your social media, and basically give you like insight into maybe why it's not converting as many customers. And one of the biggest things that we see almost every time is it's hard to book with you. It's hard to book with you. There's no clear buy now. There's no clear, or the links don't work. Like, the amount of people we have done business audits for, and if you want one, guys, like, I wasn't really intending on selling this today, but like $97, where it's on sale right now, so let us know. But one of the biggest things is that we can't figure out how to contact you. And if I have to spend more than 10 seconds trying to figure out how to contact you as a customer, I'm going to forget. I'm going to find somebody else. I'm going to do something easy. So when you're creating your offer, I also want to make sure you are making it so freaking easy for them to book with you. I don't want it to be complicated. I don't want them to have to go to more than two clicks. That's max. I want them to be able to be like, oh, this is what I want. Because most people know that they want the thing that you're selling before they even get to your website. They just need a way to buy it or to book with you. So please make sure that when you are creating your offer, that it's clear and uncomplicated, right? We want simplicity, we want ease, we want effortlessness. We want it to be in the age of digital, like, we're in the best age ever to have a business. This is like, could you imagine doing this same thing that you're doing 25 years ago? You would be knocking on doors, you'd be cold calling businesses, you'd only have your local audience. Like, we're in the best age ever to reach incredible amounts of people. Even when people are like, oh, I'm stuck in 200's jail, I'm like, 200 people? Put 200 people in a room. Talk directly to them. So we're in the best age ever, but you have to get really clear and specific with what you're offering and make your offer really simple. I think another thing that with your brand, you don't want to have 75 offers. People aren't going to know what to do. And it's going to be harder for you to storytell and sync your message into selling if you are offering 75 things. So make sure that you know what the offer is and you can clearly tell people what they get from it. Tell people how they're going to feel better. Tell people how you're going to alleviate their thing. You are not the hero. You are guiding them to be their own hero because you have the content and the information that they need. And you know it. I think the one thing we forget is there is massive power to sharing from your heart, to being authentic, and to letting people like find you. Don't be a Cheesecake Factory.
I love Cheesecake Factory.
I
I'm
do
just saying,
too.
their menu is.
I get the same thing every time though. Out of like 500 things, I get the same thing every time. I go there for that one thing.
Okay, they have a truffle chicken.
uh,
Okay, I'm just gonna leave that there. Bree says my manifesting generator tendency. Yes. Okay. So for anybody who like loves and operates with human design, manifesting generators tend to jump around a lot, right? Chelsea's one. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Chelsea's one. I would be really shocked if you're not. But manifesting generators tend to jump around a lot. This is not bad. This just means you need to niche the offer you're excited about right now. And then you don't have to have it for eternity. You can switch it up. But for right now, whatever offer you're selling, that's an all-in moment. So it's not a bad thing to be. I think manifesting generators are one of the most powerful things. Like, I'm a manifester, but if I had energy, you guys would be, watch out. I don't have that, but I really do admire that energy and the way that energy works, but that focus is going to be your best friend. So whatever you're passionate about in that energy and in that moment, that's your niche, that's your offer, that's your clarity, and that's your authenticity. When manifesting generators stay in something that feels inauthentic for too long, or they're trying to push an offer that they no longer connect with, they're gonna fall sideways, because people are gonna feel that you're not passionate about it anymore and feel that there's no energy behind it. So just a human design tip from me to you, that's something really important, is that you don't have to not jump around. That's fine. That's part of who you are. You just have to be really passionate about it and focus on the thing you're excited about in this moment in time, and pour your energy into it before you transition to something else, and give yourself permission to transition to something else. But making your offer clear and making the offer on your website, or the offer, like, even if you're even if it's like a referral process, just make sure the referral is really clear. Make sure that when you're telling people, here's what here's how you share my information, right? I want everybody to, you can share my name and my phone number, you can share my website, or you can share my booking link, or whatever. When I built Clarity, one of the biggest things that was really, really helpful for me was referrals. I used to just be like, hey, if you refer 3 people, I'll give you a free session. And my business grew completely word of mouth. We barely had a website. Chelsea can attest to it, because I did it with her sister. And we just built this massive thing because of word of mouth. So if you're like, I'm not really good at social media, I don't care. What do you do? What are you known for? And how do I let other people, and make sure other people understand what I'm known for, so that they can refer me? And maybe how do I give them an incentive to refer me? How do I give them something? I actually I had a speakeasy built in my library, which is the coolest thing ever. And I was talking to the guy who built it, because he's starting a company, and I was like, hey, like, you honestly could get away with word of mouth. Like, people are going to come over at the end of March. I'm going to have a party here, and everybody's going to want to know. And so I'm like, offer a referral bonus. Like, if you refer 2 people to me, or every referral, I'll give you $100 or whatever. Like, get interesting with the way you're doing things. I think that social media world has made it feel like we can only advertise on social media. That's like far from the truth. Social media will get you the least amount of sales,
That is
in
true.
my opinion. Out of all the things I've done as a business owner, the amount of sales I've gotten because I've talked in person versus online, very different. So I will say that. So yeah, make sure your brand is simple, clear, and that your offer is able to reach and buy. What's up, Chelsea?
I have a little tip to add to that.
Yeah, do it.
As far as referrals, so my husband and I are very, very heavily into sales. Like, everything we do is sales. He actually teaches an awesome training about predictive programming, and like a way you can speak to people, and it's very, very interesting. But that's his thing. 2 things you can do that work to get referrals, 2 different ways you can phrase this. And I would only use it at the end of a transaction. So after you've already proven to somebody and they've had a good experience getting a service or purchasing from you, but 2 different ways you can go about this. Number 1, the power of the word please. And we say it twice. If you've ever, well, I guess Nicole and Casey, I guess you haven't heard us sell alone. It's very interesting, because once you hear it once, it's like the same thing over. We use scripts. But at the end of every transaction, we check on the client, they close on their house, everything's good. And we say, oh my God, I'm so happy for you. Please, please tell your friends. Like, please tell your friends. I would love to help anybody in your family. We use that phrase every single time. And I would say like 40% of our business is referrals. It works. The please, please twice. And then the second one, this is a little bit more direct, but I think it works really, really well for certain companies, especially if you're offering a service. Again, at the end of the transaction, who do you know that could benefit from what I did? And again, this is kind of like, you don't just want to like throw it at them on the way out the door. You want to be engaged in a good conversation. They're appreciative of what you did. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Who else do you know that would benefit from my photography service? Who else do you know that would benefit from my massage service? It gets them thinking like, oh, I actually do, like my sister's pregnant and she's been talking about prenatal massage. I'll tell her to reach out to you. Like it puts it immediately on them where they have to fill that with an answer. It works.
Yeah, that's actually how I get speaking gigs is anytime I speak and I get positive feedback while I'm there, I just shoot a message over to the guy and I'm like, "Hey, or girl, sorry, that's not always men who run those things, but I'm like, "Hey, like if if you felt like this was positive experience for you, if you have any other people who are looking or hosting events or looking for speakers, I would love to like just connect with them." And I just put, as a business owner, you have to put yourself out there. But again, you have to know who you are, what you stand for, what your values are, and really simplify what you do so that when that guy goes back, he can be like, oh, I met this girl and she does prenatal massage and you're going to love her. Or I met this girl and she does photography and it's friggin' timeless. It's beautiful. It's classic. Ooh, I like the word classic. Just throwing that out there. To me, that like makes that hits more buttons in my head. We're wrapping up. This has been so much fun. I hope you guys have gained some clarity. I hope you've taken notes. I hope you have a lot of got a lot of information from this today. Tomorrow we are going to dive into marketing. So today was like who you are and making sure we're clear on who you are. And tomorrow is how we're going to attract your ideal clients so you can make money. So we want you to make money. Oh, I'm so glad that you've loved this. We've loved having you. This will be available for replay. So if you're like, ooh, I want to go back and look at some of those questions, we will send this to your inbox. I posted the Zoom link for tomorrow. So if you're like, I wanted to jump in on that, hold on one second. I'm going to also post, if you didn't sign up through our email to get all of them and get the replays, I'm putting that in there as well. This is a sneak preview. We have a ton of information that we are releasing soon in the Visionary Blueprint course. Anybody who jumps in initially will get a massive discount. It's currently $2,500, and the massive discount for anybody who signs up to start will be $997, so less than $1,000, and it's got 8 modules diving deep into branding, marketing, sales, clarity. We've got somebody coming in to help you do PR, so positioning yourself to make sure you're the expert in your field in marketing. So I'm going to drop that in as well. But we will send you guys the replays for this, for the marketing, and for our Thursday, which is going to be super cool. We've got an multiple 8-figure entrepreneur and CEO who's going to help you with your sales and lead generation, because that's how we make more money, right? So I'm going to drop in. I thought I had this up. We'll do this here as well. And if you use the code VISION25, you can be right on there as well. So we will catch you guys tomorrow at 11 a.m. And like I said, the Zoom link will go to your email, but it's also in here if you just want to copy and paste it and hold it for tomorrow.
I also just want to say, because I know everyone dropped like their businesses up top, there is a way to save this chat, guys, to your computer. So like if you didn't get a chance and you want to like follow along with each other, you can save this whole chat like as a PDF, and then that way you guys can connect with each other or follow each other or whatever you want to do. I just can't exactly remember how to do it.
It's
So
the 3 dots up at the top, I think.
okay.
Yeah, I
So just
that. So we'll do, if you drop your handles, I just saved the chat. If you drop your handles, I'll tag you guys in this from the Visionary Blueprint Instagram, and then we'll just get everybody some follows too. So
yeah.
we will connect with you guys tomorrow. If anybody has any question, please feel free to drop it in the chat. Otherwise, we'll see you then.
Yeah.